pick not long shots, but kind of a long shot. College football playoffs, the 4 teams, and then your champ. You got the
4 teams, your championship, and your champ. Yep.
Okay. And then you got the Paul O'Neill Day. We got Hard Knocks and 77s. I have a tweet of the day today. It's a great tweet. Love it. Parents will understand you'll understand it, but you won't take it to heart so much. Although you're a good uncle, like you're the kind of uncle that you play with little kids and all that kind of stuff. So you'll get it too. So how about a record over here? We're going here. Ting-a-ting, ting-ting-ting-ting, ting-ting-ting-ting. Looking good. Got a little bourbon flowing today.
Nice. I'm going to the Jackal game tonight.
I heard they're closing the stadium. Is that true?
They're closing. The Jackals are leaving.
Okay. So what? The school will still play there?
Yeah, they're closed. Jackals are moving on somewhere else, but they haven't decided. That's funny. You're making a move without making a move. Like
you don't even know where you're going.
Yeah.
That's great. What's up, everybody, and welcome to Bump and Run. I'm Pete Calisano, joined as always by my good friend Scott Bracey. What's going on, dude?
Hello, sir. Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing really good. I'm excited about today's podcast because we're getting into our college football preview. You know, we talk football all the time, and NFL dominates, especially in the offseason because, you know, and you get trades and you get free agents and you get the draft and you get injuries. And college football doesn't dominate the offseason like the NFL does. You get some coaching changes and you get some portal player transfers and stuff like that. But we don't get into like kids coming from high school going to certain colleges. I mean, that's a podcast in and of itself, you know, like recruiting 101.
Show.
Yeah. So we don't do that. So but the funny thing is it's college football that starts first. Like we'll have games this weekend. And
we will.
Yeah, and it's college football that you and I will say are more passionate about. I don't know what the word. I don't want to say I like it more. There's a different feel. There is a different feel with college football than NFL. So
I don't know how you feel about this. So Saturday morning when I wake up, I know you're a big college game day guy. I have kind of moved on to I record that and I move on to kind of the Fox pregame now.
Okay.
Michigan's on there a lot. The noon kickoff on Fox. It just sets up the whole day, man. You make a Bloody Mary and you're going. I'm going usually 12 to 12, even if I'm somewhere else or I'm checking in somewhere.
I was just gonna say it's an all day affair, and it's also more. I mean, to me, it's more of a channel flipper. Like unless you're watching a Michigan game, which you'll probably stick on the whole time, like there's like 10 games on at the same time, all on relatively local channels, all usually pretty damn good games. You get the Big Ten network, you get the ACC network, you get all the ESPNs, ABC,
Fox,
CBS.
FS1.
There's always games, and you're flipping around. There's always like 4 or 5 games, games that you're not necessarily a fan of the team.
Right.
And that's what's different for me. Like, I'll watch a Jets game. I'll watch an NFL game if it's a great game of the week, but I tend to choose Red Zone on Sundays because I just would rather just see the highlights. Whereas I can watch any 2 college football teams play. It doesn't matter. I'll enjoy it. That's the difference. I don't know. That kind of explains
That's
the
usually because you have cash on it. So that also helps.
Well, not even. It's just something about watching those games I do. But before we get to our college football preview, I know you went to a Yankee game on Sunday. It was a Paul O'Neill day.
It was.
It must have been an awesome day. We will get to that kind of when we normally do baseball after college football, but we usually start the show at NFL. We have very little NFL this week because we wanted to keep it college football, but we do have just a couple little updates that have gone on in the last few days or in the last week. The biggest news, of course, is that Tyron Smith hurt his knee. He's a left tackle for the Dallas Cowboys, hurt his knee, and he's out. What did they say? 8 weeks, 10 weeks?
Well, he hurt his knee, but he tore the hamstring from the back of his knee, which sounds gruesome.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
So they said he's out indefinitely, and they said if they do get him back, it'll be probably sometime in December, which could be a huge boost to them. Who knows? We think they're gonna be pretty good. At least 1 or 2 in that division, you would think right now.
Yeah.
And I got to be honest with you, they've dealt without him a lot lately. So I don't think this is a tremendous blow as you would think it is. It's just a matter of who they have
filling in there.
And
And you have to remember now, no Amari Cooper.
Michael Gallup's going to start.
Gallup is out. Who's the other one? Washington.
James Washington.
He's out.
Yep.
So there's a lot there. God forbid, CeeDee Lamb turns his ankle or something like that. There's they got some serious problems. But what was interesting to me was it's the same. God, I wish I would have written it down. I didn't. It's the same injury that Mekhi Becton had. And Becton's already out for the year, and this one actually sounds worse. Like you just mentioned the hamstring tear in the back. That sounds worse than just the knee. And they're talking he might be back this season. And I'm like, well, why is he possibly going to be back? But Becton definitely isn't for the Jets.
You know, he's tougher than these Jets. You know, these Jets
apparently. So that's huge news. Listen, that was already a week. It was already kind of a weakish division. We kind of had it. I think we both picked. No, you picked the Eagles, right?
I did.
Yeah, I think that's looking better and better, to be honest with you.
I don't know if that. I don't like you said. It's just a matter of who they get to replace him. But
I think they
had to go into it looking like this guy's not going to last the season anyway because he hasn't in the last.
But you're counting on him, or else you don't have him on the roster. And he's one of the best left tackles in football.
You think he's a Hall of Fame?
That's a good question. It's probably a question for another day. What I know is that of all the offensive linemen that you're going to lose, you don't want to lose the one who blocks your quarterback's blind side. That's just not good. You and I have questions. We don't think he's bad, but we have questions about Dak as a top 10 guy. Now you take away receivers, you take away protection, and now that $45 million a year or whatever he's making comes with more questions, right? Like now you really have to carry the team, and are you the guy to carry the team? So that's, in my defense, in a way, like this plays right into my argument. Like if you're going to pay a guy that much money, then he better be the man that carries your team. You can't turn around and say, well, he needs help. If he needs help, then you shouldn't be paying him then he doesn't deserve the 40 to 45 or whatever these guys are getting now, whatever his annual average was. So that's just the thing. And to me, it's just interesting. It just makes the story of the Cowboys and frankly of Dak Prescott a little more interesting. I'm intrigued to see, how that goes. Lots of guys can do really well when everything's in place. You have an elite running back. You have one of the, I'm trying to think back to the first 2 years that Dak was a starter. You have one of the best offensive lines in the league. You have a great running back, good receivers. Like, oh yeah, no shit, you look good. I would have looked good too, So, but it's when we say like an Aaron Rodgers or a Russell Wilson or some of these other guys, when you're going to make that much money, you got to carry the team sometimes. And I don't know if he's capable of that. One of the other things that happened, I don't know if it's happening, but Saquon Barkley said something this week. And before I even comment at it, I wanted to read just a part of it. So he's kind of talking about how he's back and he's excited, and it's not so much like that he needs to prove it to people, but he loves what he does and he just wants to be one of the best. There's part of what he said that I'm like, huh. And it's quote, because last year was more like, dang, the game was taken away from me. I never had a season where I didn't go play football. Now it's kill mindset. Now it's like, you know what? Fuck everybody. I'm ready to go crazy. I'm going to let the world feel me. When guys talk like that, I actually look and I say, they're not going to have a great year. Like they're so defensive. You know what I mean? When they get so defensive like that, like I'm going to show you, normally just go out and do it. And especially coming from a guy who 2 years ago didn't play, last year was nothing to write home about. I wouldn't go on the talking spree at that point. At that point, shut your mouth and just go do it. And then afterwards you can say, I told you so. So when I see those kind of comments, it's a lot of chirp. I'm not saying he's not a hard worker. I'm not saying he's not a great player. I'm not saying he's not ready for a season. This is one of those things that I would call bad business. I used to say this about Cam Newton after he would score a touchdown. This is back when he was still at Carolina. He would score a touchdown, and his teammates would come to give him a high five, and he almost would push him out of the way to do the Superman bust open the shirt thing. And I'm like, that's just bad business. You got your teammates looking at that like, what the hell? And then you got linebackers, outside linebackers, safeties looking at that and saying, I want to kill him now. And I call that bad business. And I think Saquon chirping is bad business. What do you think?
Well, the first thing that comes
I know you like him a lot, so.
The first thing that comes to my mind is what? You didn't give it your all, fuck everyone else before the season started? Now this is the season you're going to do it?
That's why it's weird. It's like well,
why?
What do you
why
mean?
Now?
Yeah, what do you mean even by fuck everyone? Who's been talking shit? Everybody's kind of been giving you a pass for 2 years. You were injured the year before. And last year the team stunk, so nobody put that on you. So I don't even know who this is targeted to.
I know the situations are different, but this kind of has the Joey Gallo stink on it. Joey leaves town. He's talking shit about the Yankee fans. Joe, nobody played for you. You were bad here.
Yeah, you batted 175.
You were bad. Like we didn't play for you and put your name on the back.
Yeah.
Like it was you, bro. Like you deserve to get booed. Listen,
Right.
You go to LA, do whatever you got to do. We're happy for you. You know, but Saquon, like you've been hurt. Your team's been bad. Like you said, your quarterback's been hurt.
Just,
I mean, you're running the wishbone and 4th and 8, and you're on 12 last year. Like
I have a question for you because you're up in North Jersey. Like, was there booing? Like, are people like you listen to talk radio up there? Like, is there people talking shit on him?
I don't think it's much as tough talking shit. I think it's a matter of you're the number 2 overall pick. You had a phenomenal rookie year, and you've kind of vanished since. I mean, there's a lot, like you said, that was going on there to make that happen. But now it's put up or shut up time. You got a comparable coach now. We think. Jones, I don't know, another guy that's got to stay healthy. Now you have 2 great tackles. It looks like you did some work on the line. You have a lot of money in your wide receivers, as we talked about last week when we did the division preview. Your division's not phenomenal. It's not the AFC West by any means.
No.
So if you put something together here, you might be able to make some noise. Do I like putting the pressure on himself a little bit? I do. I'm not looking at as much as I think he's going to have a bad year because he did that.
It's weird because it's coming across like finger pointing, and I don't mean like at his teammates, but like all you out there. Because who else could he be talking about?
Well, he might be hearing a lot more than we do too. Who knows?
I'm sure, but then that even concerns
every friend sends him an article or Twitter or a thing or a tweet. I mean,
yeah, I see that and I'm like, dude, that's not wise. Just go out and kick ass. You know, if you had okay, so Tyreek Hill has been just like he can't shut up with the Dolphins, and he just rips the Chiefs. Which it's like, dude, you went to like 5 AFC Championship games, 2 Super Bowls, and you won a Super Bowl, and you're gonna rip that organization? Okay, but guess what? He's got a lot of like gravitas behind what he says, just because like he's done it.
Yeah,
like, he's had tremendous seasons. So when he says "screw you" to somebody, it's like, oh, that's kind of interesting, or like the hell with everybody, and it's like, okay, this guy. You haven't had like a good season, like you're saying, in 3 years, Saquon Barkley. Like, who are you talking to? And more importantly, why? Like, why are you even going down that road? Just go kick ass. And then afterwards you can say, see, all you sons of bitches, I was chewing on that all season. This is what you get for doubting me. Whoever they are, I don't even know, but whatever. So that's why that struck me. And now I'm like, I got a bad feeling. Like, I just, when guys do that, like they haven't done anything in a couple of years and they come out, it's like Cam Newton saying, I'm still a starter. And now you're not even in the league anymore. Like, I just, just go and do it one more time before you start talking about you're a God killer, like you're going to set the world on fire. Maybe do it one more time before you start talking shit like that. I don't know. I just think that's bad business. The best way I can explain it. One last thing before we get to college football. Interesting little development happening down in Pittsburgh. We kind of, I don't want to say predicted it, but we kind of knew it was coming. We didn't know how fast. Looks like we're seeing Kenny Pickett. Like, he clearly looks like the best quarterback on that roster. Now, sometimes he's going up against 3s. Sometimes he's going up against 2s. They were supposed to give him some reps against 1s this week. So we'll see. Do you think he should be the starter? Like, now? No. You don't? No. Okay. So, you know me, I've been one to say, let a kid sit until he's ready or until it's super clear the veteran that's there is not the starter, the season's not going well, whatever the case may be. I just think this is a little different only because the guys that are there in Pittsburgh are when it's Mitch Trubisky and
you
Mason
put guys.
Rudolph.
I only put Trubisky. I don't put Rudolph in this at all. I know you think more of him than I do, but
well, he
had his chance, bro. It's like
I don't disagree. I don't think he's an NFL starter, but there were talk in the preseason that he was actually looking the best. No shit. Like, he's the one guy there that actually knows the offense from last year. So that doesn't surprise me at all. But that's my point. Like, I don't think either of these guys are real starters in the league. It's not like you're looking at either of them for the future. It's not like in Kansas City with Alex Smith when he was there. And it's like, well, we got a very competent quarterback that's been a successful guy in this league. We can let Mahomes sit. I mean, they were a playoff team that year, for Christ's sake. That Alex Smith was their quarterback. Yep. They were a good playoff team. So that's I think it's a different situation. Like, you just have nobody there. I wouldn't. So I still would probably do what you're saying. I still would probably sit him first couple games. But as soon as it's clear, assuming it is, but as soon as it's clear that one of these other guys isn't the guy, and you're probably right, it'll be Trubisky. Why else bring him in? I think you move to Kenny Pickett quicker than I would have liked, and how much I normally like. How about that? Does that make sense? I'd have a quicker trigger. I would love to. I like to see. Yeah, I would like to see guys. Remember what I was saying? Whatever last year with Zach Wilson. I'm like, I don't care. I like to see him sit at least half the season. But the Jets' problem was they had no real professional quarterback as a backup, so that's why they couldn't really do that. They were so committed to Zach to start. You have guys here, you have veterans here that can play for a little while and give a little more time. There's nothing like watching guys play in real live games for a rookie. It helps. It matters instead of just going through the disaster. On top of the fact that their offensive line still isn't so great. So,
yeah.
But it was interesting because you and I certainly liked him more than what looks like the scouts liked him at the time when it was draft time. Now it's looking like we were kind of right. Again.
Shocker.
Again. College football top 25.
We have a message here from looks like a Huskers fan.
Huskers.
Let's start with a winning record before we spell national titles. Holy wow!
Oh yeah, geez. Let's get that first win in America.
Wow.
Isn't that game? Isn't that Huskers? Is that the one that's in Ireland?
12:30 Saturday on Fox.
You got to get your first American land in the contiguous United States win before you can start calling for a national title.
My goodness.
Yeah, I hope the coach just holds on to his job. I like Scott Frost, so I hope, and I love when he came home to coach at Nebraska. But yeah, we want to slow that one down a little bit. But good luck. Good luck. Do you think they win this weekend?
Yeah, I think they win pretty good, pretty convincingly.
Yeah. You're a little higher on them than I am. I predicted that they would have the lower win.
Well, I'm not higher. Well, I think
not high. Yeah, you're not high on them.
I'm not high on them. I think they beat Northwestern.
All right, let's get to it. So we have our college football top 25. Do you have it in front of you? Do you want to run down it real quick?
I could get it.
Yeah, why don't you just run it down real quick? Are you going on your phone? This guy doesn't even use a computer anymore. What do you got there? This is what, the AP top 25, correct?
Yep. All right, okay. Number 1, 2, 3 are going to be shocking. You're never going to hear these schools before in your life. Bama, Ohio State, Georgia, Clemson, Notre Dame, your top 5. 6 through 10, Texas A&M, Utah, my Wolverines, Oklahoma, and Baylor. 11 through 15, Oregon, Oklahoma State, NC State, a newcomer in the poll.
That's a high spot for them.
USC and Michigan State. 16 through 20, Miami, Pitt, Wisconsin, Arkansas, Kentucky. And 21 through 25, Ole Miss, Wake Forest, Cincinnati, Houston, and BYU. Now, there's a lot of smaller schools in this top 25 this year, Peter.
Yes,
and a lot of
you can thank the Bearcats for that.
A lot of blue bloods outside looking in, and we're gonna get into that right now.
If it looks like my eyes are wandering, it's because I'm looking at the same thing on my computer screen. I'm looking at that top 25 also. So what we're gonna try to pick some teams that are currently in the top 25 that we believe will get knocked out. So we call this our college football top 25, in then out, or out then in and out. Okay. So we'll start first with the couple teams that we think are currently in the top 25 that I think they're going to be out. And I'll start it off if you don't mind.
Go ahead, sir.
I'm going to start off, and I probably should have left this one for last because it's going to be a start. I'm not sure they'll be all the way out of the top 25, but I got a bad feeling about this team. I'll say this. I don't think they're going to be in the top 20. How about that? I think Oklahoma gets knocked down a number of pegs. Let's look at some just facts. Number one, they've never been anywhere near one of the better defensive teams in the country, although Brett Venables is an excellent defensive coach, okay? New head coach. But they've never been one of the best defensive teams, and you're not going to rebuild an entire defense in one off season. Number two, you lose one of the hottest offensive head coaches in the country. He ends up going, your boy, one of your favorites,
Lincoln
Riley, the biggest disappointment of the year, which according to you.
No, again,
but maybe more importantly, he takes what? Caleb Williams, is that his name?
Yeah.
Their starting quarterback. He takes them with him. So now you got a new head coach who's never been a head coach, who never really, for years when he was a defensive coordinator at Clemson, said he really wasn't interested in being a head coach. Suddenly he's interested in being a head coach. That's just that has a
yeah, I kind of feel like they
it's like he got forced into it. He got lasted into it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So that scares me, but really the quarterback thing scares me. So you got a new head coach, new quarterback, new offense coordinator. Plus they've had some chaos in the offseason with, I don't even know what the hell actually was said or went on with Gundy. Was he their offense coordinator?
The guy, the wide receiver coach or something like that, the quarterback.
Whatever he is, he
said something and had to resign. And he quit.
Yeah. I never you didn't even start the season and you already got chaos going on, and that's never a good sign. Now listen, it's friggin' Oklahoma, so they're not going to suck, but I think they're out of the top 20, and I'm just putting them in here as Gonzo from the. If Oklahoma's not in the top 20, they might as well not even be in the top 25 because that's a big disaster. For them not to be in the top 15 is a disaster. So wherever they end up above 20, I'm going to take that as a win.
All right. Well, I know last year you were a cheerleader.
I knew it, and I agree.
A cheerleader for this team. The 23 ranked Cincinnati Bearcats. You're replacing an all-time great quarterback in, what's his name, Desmond Ridder. A top 5 overall pick in Jet defensive back Ahmad Sauce Garner.
Might end up being the defensive rookie of the year.
And
the NFL.
And Luke Fickell was answering every call that was coming his way. It just, I think he missed the job because they went to the playoff. You couldn't jump on a job.
Couldn't do it. You got to go for the championship.
So I don't know if he's looking. I wonder what jobs are going to be available this year. Maybe looking around.
I would think all the same jobs would be available, by the way, because everybody knows that this team is a little diminished, as you're alluding to. You know, the guy didn't lose his skill and talent in a year. So if you like, I'm not saying he's. I'm not. I'm just saying. No, I know. But you know how people are. They get, no pun intended. They get fickle, and they say, they stunk this year. You like that?
No.
That's called alliteration, by the way. You're welcome.
Oh, what a teacher.
Cincinnati Bearcats, huh? That was my second team. So I agree with you 100%. Listen, I'm not a Bearcats fan. Like, I'm not a Cincinnati fan. I just knew what I saw going into last season, and that's why I was calling that all year, that they were one of the best teams in the country. By the way, it wasn't just one corner that they lost. They lost 2 corners to the draft.
Mr. Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, high in the draft. Like, that was a good football team, and they lost super important players, man. Like, they might have lost a wide receiver that went to the NFL.
They might have lost their running back, too, I think.
Like, that was a good football team. So don't, I know I try to, pat myself on the back as, some genius. Trust me when I tell you, I was just telling you what I saw. That was a good football team. Like I've said to you, Sky, so many times, just let's remember that game was 17-3 going midway through the third quarter against friggin' Alabama. That was a good football team. Okay. They hung in there with the best team in best program in the country. And they're not this year.
Do you think Ridder is going to be a good decent pro?
I'm not sure. I will tell you, he has looked really good at times in the preseason, man. I've been pretty impressed.
I like him in that black and red, too. He just looks comfortable, right?
Well,
sometimes it fits. Kenny Pickett with Pittsburgh,
right?
It just fits, man. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, a Malik Willis went ahead of him, and Malik Willis has had some major struggles. He just looks like an athlete that they're trying to shoehorn into the quarterback position.
We all had that one right.
Well, you and I did. Everybody else was wrong. But you and I both liked Ridder. I told you, what I said to you was, here's a guy who's a 4-year starter. And if you look at his progression, his freshman and sophomore year, he was kind of like a Malik Willis.
Yeah.
He was kind of like first read, not there, take off and run, because he's that kind of athlete. And by the time he was a senior, he was a drop back, pass the ball quarterback. Oh, by the way, he's married. He's got a kid. He's like a family guy. This is not like, Johnny Manziel out partying. So there's a lot there to like. And he's behind kind of like a low-key dude in Marcus Mariota who he's learning from. There's a lot to like there, and he has looked pretty darn good in the preseason.
we've said this 100 times. It's sometimes the position you're in, like where you are, what like
matters.
choice you get in life.
Atlanta's going to stink this year, but he has looked. He has looked as good as any of the other young quarterbacks. And I know it wasn't a great draft for quarterbacks, but he has looked as good as any of, if not better.
Can I interrupt this real quick before I give you my second team? I'm watching the golf right now, and it's the opening round of the FedEx
Championship.
How was somebody 13 under through 7?
Okay, so first, the only in this last tournament of the season, this last tournament of the year, they use your ranking to put you at where you are according to par.
Right.
So
I knew that.
The number one ranked player was Scotty Scheffler. He started at 10 under, and then the number 2 player was 9 under.
I figured it was something like that, but okay.
And then it got to like 5 through 10, or maybe like once they got to 8, it was like 8 through 10 are this, and then 10 through 20 or this, and 20 through 30 or this, and that was it. Like that's how you start.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
You know what? Because the first few years they did that, it was just like they kept using the point system. And what was happening is that last tournament was like a waste of time. You can't have the guy who wins the last tournament. Like this is your tour championship.
Yeah.
You can't have the guy who wins that tour championship tournament not be the tour champion. Like, like a couple years ago, I think Tiger Woods won the last tournament, but it was like, I forget who it was. It was somebody else who won the FedEx Cup. And it's just odd. Like you're celebrating Tiger Woods' win, and then next to him, you got the guy actually holding the FedEx Cup.
I do remember that. Yeah.
So they changed it to like they'll start the tournament with with an altered score, and then just go play, and whoever wins wins.
Gotcha.
Which is better. It's better. I know I think they started that last year, and I was like, how the hell is he already at 11 under on Thursday?
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, no, he's on. I was like, it's a 4th hole, and he's at 11 under. How the hell did he?
Yeah, I'm like, did he go the first 2 holes? Like, Jesus Christ!
What are they using the Stableford system? Like, what the hell's going on here? So, yeah, that's what they were doing. All right, what's your next team?
My next team is a team that we both liked last year. We both liked the head coach, the Ole Miss Running Rebels.
Interesting.
Another team replacing their star quarterback. They opened the year. Point. They opened the year at 21. So they squeaked in, as the writers put them, and they play in the SEC West: Alabama, Auburn, A&M. That's 3 losses right there. I think they'll probably lose another one. I don't know who the quarterback is.
We don't know yet. Yeah,
Kiffin is always a wild card.
This is true.
He gets bananas sometimes, and like he does. But he's
also
shit.
An amazing recruiter.
This is also fair.
But where I agree with you is that we're in a I don't know phase right now, like because of the quarterback situation. If you look at what we're doing, all these teams that we're talking about, they're losing like high-end starter quarterbacks, and we're sitting here like I don't know what you guys are going to look like. We've talked about this last year when the college football season was starting, and I said one of my favorite ways of betting college football is I love betting against rookie starting quarterbacks, especially with better teams. Like give me a team that's usually pretty good, so you're going to get a skewed line, but they have a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're getting a couple extra points here because they're used to being like Notre Dame will have a new quarterback this year. I might bet against them the first few games of the season because I don't even know who their starter is going to be. You know what I mean? Whoever it is, it's new. You got a new starting quarterback, new head coach. I'll bet against Notre Dame first couple games of the season.
Right.
The kid might be great. I don't even know. I'm just looking at him saying he's new. So, yeah, I agree with you here. It's funky. You just don't know.
Yeah.
I have a lot of faith in Lane Kiffin. I like him as a coach. Plus, I just think he's fun to have in the game and talk about and all that stuff. But,
and in that conference, too.
I'm not ready to knock him out of the top 25, but because I just think he's building a good program there. And I have faith in him when it comes to quarterbacks and stuff like that. So we'll see. But I know where you're going with that. And I'm going down the same road with this next team. I'm saying Pittsburgh Panthers will be out of the top 25.
I thought about that one.
Where the hell? I mean, look here. They're actually in the teens, aren't they? Yeah,
17.
Like, I'm going to be honest with you. I think they're out of the top 25 by October. Like, I didn't even look at their schedule, and I could pull that up real quick.
I was going to do the same thing.
Let me see who they got here. Because again,
the ACC isn't great either. So
the ACC isn't great, but let me see schedule.
I know they play Clemson.
West Virginia at home against West Virginia, home against Tennessee, then at Western Michigan versus Rhode Island, Georgia Tech, bad, Virginia Tech, Louisville, who I may bring up at some point today, and then it starts to get harder, and then they finish with Miami. I just, like you said, and like we've been saying, it's like a recurring theme here. Kenny Pickett is gone. Their best wide receiver, Addison, has gone out to USC. You take those two things on a team that is, perennially like about a 500, maybe a game above, game below 500. And I'm going to say, if you're a 500 team, you're not in a top 25. So I think they're back to being a 500 team. So I will put them out. They might get into playoffs. They might get into a bowl game with 6 wins. But I don't think at 6 wins you're not a top 25 team. I think at this point in the game, 8 wins is a minimum to somewhere. You got to be a pretty good team that maybe had a couple slobber knocker games that you lost to be an 8-5 team and still be in the top 25. I don't think they get to 8 wins. So I think they're out. To me, that's along the same lines as Cincinnati, right? Like 2 surprise teams from last year, 2 teams that maybe played above what most people expected them to do. They got a couple upsets, and they lost quarterbacks and big-time players, and I just don't know that that's repeatable at that program. Alabama can lose those kind of players. Ohio State can lose those kind of players. Georgia can. I don't know about Cincinnati and Pitt. Not exactly like, recruiting havens. So
this isn't 1983 with Dan Marino.
Oh, by the way, they had a hard time replacing him for about 30 years. So go ahead.
Yeah, about Oklahoma State Cowboys.
Really?
Number 12.
What's before you even go into it, what's crazy about Oklahoma State from last year is that you and I know Oklahoma State for offense. Like that's offense, period. And they had one of the best defense. The only reason they were even like a reputable team last year was because of their defense.
Well, if you stop interrupting me, let me finish my point. We could go into that.
I'm sorry. It was just interesting.
Oklahoma State defensive coordinator left the Cowboys and went to Ohio State.
Your nemesis.
So that's going to be a big shoe to fill for a team like that never has a good defense. They never really have good back-to-back years under Gundy. If you go back there, last year they were a blow. I think if they don't blow the game against Baylor in the Big 12 championship game, they beat Cincinnati out for that 4th spot in the playoff.
Because they would have had 1 loss, right?
Yep.
Yeah. There's an argument to be made for that. I don't know that it would have happened, but there's an argument to be made for that.
Me and my good buddy, Mr. Rothenberger, watch a lot of football together on Saturdays, and we do not love quarterback Spencer Sanders, and he's back for another campaign.
He's very much like a gunslinger, right? Like kind of let it rip.
He lets it rip, but then he fumbles all the time in big spots. Like he's back again, and I don't. Now they're going to have to put points on the board because they don't have that defense anymore.
No, they lost that. Well, I don't know. How about between the draft and graduation? Did they lose a lot of those? They
lost a couple of guys. I know that. Okay. You're always going to lose a couple of guys. That's the way it is. But.
Well, there's a couple of guys, and then there's the Georgia Bulldogs who lost like 10 out of 11 starters on defense.
Yeah, and I bet you they still have a top 10 defense because it's just different.
Well, that's what we're just saying. It's easier for them to reload, right? Do you have anything else to say with Oklahoma State?
That's it.
Yeah, I think that quarterback thing will be the deciding factor there. If he can kind of rein in it a little bit and be a little less of a wild ass hair, then maybe they'll. I mean, they're usually a top 25 team. Plus, it's a bad conference. I should say it's a bad conference. I don't know that that's fair, but it's a very top-heavy conference. It tends to be very top-heavy conference. Yeah. So, and you know what has hurt that conference? TCU hasn't been a viable team for
a couple years. Yeah.
So
and Gary Patterson's gone too, so they're going to be.
That's right. I forgot. Is this first year that there's a new guy there?
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to say Sonny Dykes.
I don't know, but he was a good coach.
Oh yeah,
he's a really good coach.
Oh, listen, he got as much out of them as you probably could.
Now, this is off the beaten path, but I'm interested to see what happens with some of these Texas teams like TCU, SMU with NIL money now. Because if you remember way back when SMU got the death penalty, they were throwing cash around to Eric Dickerson and some of these guys like it was nothing, and that's when they were good. It is funny looking at what happens when you're able to buy players, and we'll see if some of that Texas oil money finds its way to TCU and SMU and Texas Tech. And frankly, I hope it does to make the conference that much better. So
you had a little Chris Berman there. Back.
Well, because as I'm thinking, this is going back a ways, man. Because that shit was. If you
Craig
go look
James
for that on
and
YouTube,
the death penalty.
Yeah, that's some grainy ass videos. that's a while ago. I have one more here for you.
Ooh,
yeah. And then I have some like honorable mentions. I don't think they're out of the top 25, but I think they're going to drop, and people are going to say you're fucking crazy, and I'm going to say I know what I'm talking about. But my team that's going to be out is Arkansas. Listen, Arkansas had a really good run last year. I never heard of their coach, and that doesn't mean he's not a good coach.
Sam Pittman or something like that?
I don't know what the hell his name is. I still don't know who he is.
I
don't like his physique. He's very drippy, fat, drippy, and I don't like that as an example for your players. I know Bill Parcells got it. I know, but I understand that. He can get away with it because he's a friggin' winner. This guy's been working at Arkansas and at Sam's Deli before this past year. Man, they had a really good season last year.
Do you have your rejection letter from Arkansas handy? Holy shit.
They had a really good season last year, and I have no right to do this. I looked at their schedule. They're on the road more than most SEC teams. I think some of the games that they won last year, they're not going to win this year. They're not sneaking up on anybody like they did last year. And again, they're in the SEC. I think Tennessee is improving. I think Ole Miss will be, whether they're top 25 or not, they're a tough team to play. Georgia, Alabama, Auburn, Florida, it's just a tough conference. Somebody has to lose. And I just don't think that they're going to be able to reproduce what they did last year. So I think they're going to fall out of the top 25. I know they're a very physical team. They lost their top. Was it their top wide receiver? Was it the kid from Arkansas?
Yeah, he went to Titans. Yeah, Burks.
Yeah, right. Big kid, big, strong kid. And he was a major playmaker for them. And don't make any mistake that's a big friggin' deal. So I think Arkansas falls out, man. It's just tough. There's some conferences, I guess the Big Ten is kind of at this point also where you just look and you say, somebody's got to lose, dude. You can only have so many elite teams. Then if there are that many that we truly believe are that good, somebody's got to lose these friggin' games. We think Florida's improved. We've seen Tennessee improve. I'll give you another team that I think has improved that's not on my out, but now in by the end of the season. No, South Carolina, and they're in the SEC. I think they're improving. I told you this last year. I really like their head coach.
Fuck Rattler.
Okay. So I think Arkansas is out. I think Arkansas will fall out. And I do have two teams that I think are going to drop. They're going to surprise people. You mentioned one of them. I think the Georgia Bulldogs are going to fall out of the top 10. Okay. And what that means is they won't be in the playoffs more than anything. And that'll surprise people because, number one, their quarterback is coming back. Their head coach is coming back. A lot of their weapons and offense are coming back. They lost 10 out of 11 starters on defense. It was a bananas draft for Georgia Bulldogs. And they're all playing their balls off in the NFL, at least so far, what we've seen in preseason, which is unbelievable. Let's not forget that team with the best defense many of us have seen in years did lose last year to Alabama and then beat them later, although they were losing early and came back and crushed late.
Yep.
You turn around. I know they will reload, but will they fully reload in 1 year when we know, at least according to Nick Saban, he even feels like last year was a rebuilding year, even though they only lost one game during the regular season. So they have their quarterback. I don't doubt that they're going to score a lot of points, but they're going to have to win a lot of games by shootouts. And when I look at a team and I say they got to win by shootouts, you could do it a lot. I don't know that you can do it enough to be in the playoffs. So I'm just going to say Georgia's going to fall out of the top 10. I don't think they're all out of the top 25.
Now, is that a team when you're betting, will that be a team you look and see they're giving 34 early?
Yeah,
and maybe they win, but they win by 24 and they don't
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if they're playing Samford, I probably wouldn't do that.
But if they're playing Kentucky,
like you said, I just said, South Carolina. If they're playing South Carolina early, who showed they looked like a real physical team last year, who's an up and comer, and you got Georgia favored by 20 plus points. I'd probably take South Carolina in a game like that. You know what I mean? Because those early lines, especially, are going to be based off of reputation. So I would probably take the points. I'm not saying their defense is going to stink. I just mean you can reload 3-4 guys, 11, 10 guys. That's unheard of. Nobody, even Alabama doesn't ever have to do that.
I think it's 8 guys, 7 or 8 guys.
It's freaking crazy.
8 or 9 guys. I think it's 8 or 9.
Yeah, that's right. I remember it being close to 10. So I was like, that's a lot. That's not just like, hey, we need a safety, a corner, and a defensive end. Like, we need 3 linemen, 2 corners,
2 linebackers.
Safety, 2 linebackers. Like, that's a lot, man. That's a lot.
And leadership too. Another thing about it.
Yes. You know, and you're talking some of these guys were top 5 picks, like the defensive tackle for
Eagles.
Oh my God, does he look friggin' good? Like a just wrecking machine. Like, you don't just replace that with the same level.
Right.
So
Jordan Davis.
Yeah, I think they fall out of the top 10. The other team to me is Clemson. I'm sorry. They got them as a top 5 team. That Uyunglele or whatever the hell he is.
Oh, that wasn't bad. That
was pretty. Was that it?
Uyunglele. You missed the LA.
I left one look out. I'm a Guinea. I'm not a Hawaiian. So I have no faith in him whatsoever. The things that I saw that he was doing wrong last year, oh boy, I'm sorry. I don't see that just improving suddenly over the offseason. So you're going to have to show me. I think they're out of the top 10, which gives you an idea later on when we get into who we think will be in the playoffs. You know, 2 teams that I'm probably not going to have in.
Wow.
All right. So who's not in the top 25 that you think will be working their way in?
I only have 2 here, Coach. I just mentioned them before. The Tennessee Volunteers.
Yeah, I like them this year too, although I don't have them on this list.
A lot of returning starters. Josh Heupel runs a very, very good team. Very good program.
You were a big fan of him before the season started last year, right?
I'm gonna do a Pete Caliciano here, and I'm gonna go back on something, and it's gonna make me look stupid, but I don't like the way he looks. A little droopy, a little like whatever. And it's funny. And it's funny because I remember he was a Heisman Trophy candidate way back.
I don't disagree with you, dude. Yeah, he was a national champion with Oklahoma as a quarterback. He looks like he swallowed a beach ball.
He looks like he belongs on the farm of Yellowstone at this point. But the guy can coach.
He did a good job last year.
And he did a really good job. They got a Hendon Hooker coming back at quarterback. Tremendous year. He had a great player. Athletic.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I don't mean to kill
Can I ask you something about him?
Go ahead.
Did he replace Scott Frost at Central Florida?
Yes, he did. Yes,
he did, right?
Yeah.
And there was a lot of people that were like, "Oh, he's not the same. He's not going to do as good." And I think they had 1 loss that year.
And now he's had a better career at Tennessee. Scott had some 4 years in Nebraska in 1 year.
No doubt.
And I don't mean to kill the SC East, but it's definitely easier schedule than the West is. So
sure.
They play in the East. Listen, they're going to have tough games. South Carolina. We think Florida's improved, and of course Georgia. But everybody else in that thing, Missouri stinks. Kentucky's okay. They're replacing a couple.
Well, they have a really good quarterback. Kentucky has a really good
Levis,
quarterback.
Yeah. But I think Tennessee is better right now.
Do you know what they finished the season? What the record was when they finished the season?
I want to say 8-4.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I wanted to put them on this list. I have another SEC team on here. And I left Tennessee off. Listen, we know how it is. There's 25 spots, and there's probably going to be 8 SEC teams in the top 25. So we can both be right on this one. Could be because my SEC team that I'm putting in the top 25 that is not right now is LSU. I talked to you guys.
Breaking up on me here.
Am I really? Can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Okay, now? Sorry about that. I told you guys a few weeks ago when we did college football over and unders, the LSU is at 6 or 6.5, whatever the hell it is, and I took them to go over because I said all they got to do is you're just asking them to be a bowl team. If they win 8-9 games, they're a top 25 team. And I just like Chip. Listen, this is an offensive era. It is what it is. Ed Orgeron is a unique fella, but he's not an offensive genius. He's not a genius, frankly, in any state of mind. So
wow, okay, I was wrong here.
What's that? What were you wrong about?
They were 7-6 last year.
Tennessee. Did they win their bowl?
They lost Ole Miss by 5.
Did they win their bowl game?
Bama smoked them. They lost to Georgia respectively, 41-17.
Respectably?
Georgia's beat everyone by 40 last year.
Hey, Jesus.
They lost to Purdue in the bowl.
Apparently, I lost a lot of games at Elmwood Park, respectably.
Yeah, it's arguable too. Yeah, Purdue beat him in a bowl. Wow.
Yeah, that's a bad loss.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But I just think with Chip Kelly coming in, offensive mind at LSU, it's just the way it is now. Offense rules the day, quarterbacks rule the day, and I just have a little more faith. So I'll take LSU, SEC team, traditional powerhouse. If they get off to any kind of a decent start, you're going to see that fan base go bananas.
Did they pick a quarterback yet?
I don't know. I just don't care. I have faith in Chip Kelly. I think he's a really
I do
good
too,
coach.
but maybe not year one. I think going forward, I think they're going to be really good. I don't know. I know they have athletes still.
Yeah, well, listen,
a different animal, though.
All I needed to do, listen, I took them in the over when we did our over and unders. I took them in the over, so I think they can win 8 games. And if they win 8 games and go 8-5 in the SEC, I think maybe they sneak into the top.
You were as committed as with him positively as I'm negatively with Lincoln.
Correct. I'm not saying they're going to be a top 5 team. We're just trying to sneak them into the top 25 here. So I'll put LSU in that top 25. Plus, here's the other thing. There's SEC/LSU bias. LSU is a traditional powerhouse. So if they start to look good in any way, shape, or form, these guys want to put them in a top 25. So they want them to
and they might put them in a little sooner than they should be in just because it's
possible. Yeah. So that's another reason why maybe.
I'm going to go on the Big Ten.
I don't have a Big Ten team.
I am not a fan of this coach. I think he's very overrated. I think he's fucking way overpaid.
Can I guess?
Sure.
Penn State?
Yes, sir.
I know you don't like him.
6th-year quarterback in Sean Clifford, who is...
Oh, shit. I didn't realize I totally would have put them in the top 25. I thought he was gone.
Don't yell at me, coach. It's your own fucking fault.
Oh, God damn it.
6th
You're the one who does all the research on here.
He hasn't been really great in the last 2.5.
Yeah.
Always a good defense. Always solid. They got the top 10 recruiting class again. 2 stud receivers. I'm a little worried about that game when they come to Ann Arbor in mid-October, but 2 stud receivers.
But they lost one, right?
They lost the one to the Washington Commanders.
To Washington.
And I got to tell you, I know they play in the Big Ten East, but their non-crossover games are not horrible. They play Purdue, Northwestern, Minnesota. They miss Iowa, Wisconsin. That's 2 games, and Nebraska. Nebraska could be a pain in the ass. Although we're not a fan of Frost, they could be a pain in the ass. And they got OSU at home. They do the whiteout game, and that's a beautiful. Cool. That's a beautiful scene. So if you're telling me 8-4 in that Big Ten, you're getting ranked, dude.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Like at Penn State.
It depends on the 8. You know what I mean? Like if they were to go 8-4, but one of those 8 wins is Ohio State,
or Michigan State. Yeah, you might. Yeah, I'm rooting for it, obviously.
It's an interesting one. My next one to me is easy. I think Texas will be in the top 25. I don't get this at all. I think Sarkisian is a good coach. I think there was multiple games last year where they were winning and winning. I don't trust him,
and I don't trust the quarterback.
I know, but let's remember that was his first year as coach of his team.
Listen, he's done enough for me over the years to prove that I don't have to like the guy or prove that he's.
You don't have to like him. I'm just saying. I mean, like him as a
good
offensive coach.
Well, sometimes he's got offense coordinators, dude.
We've talked about that many times. I don't think this is the case here.
Okay.
I think Texas there was multiple games where they had double-digit leads, even in the 4th friggin' quarter, and they end up losing the game, which is just inexplicable. I just don't see that happening again this year. I think he's a smart guy. I think he's a really good recruiter. And, I think he spent some time with Nick Saban in Alabama, right?
That's how he got the Texas job.
Absolutely. So I don't think that's a bad thing. I think there's some things that'll rub off on him from Nick Saban, no homo. And I think, again, I'm not asking him to be a top 10 team here, although we just listen, I got Oklahoma dropping out of the top 20. We talked about you had Oklahoma State dropping out of the top 25. Well, who the hell else is there? There's only Texas left. Like, who else is winning the goddamn conference? Somebody's got to win the conference. So I think Texas.
Baylor.
They could. Never know. I'll take Texas with that NIL money. And I think that not only am I saying the top 25, I think there's a really good chance that they can end up in the top 10. I really do think Texas could end up in the top 10. Just before going to the SEC and getting decimated.
We might have to put some money on that.
Okay. I got no problem with that.
Wow. That's it for me, buddy. You got any more?
Oh, I do. I do have one more. This one baffles my mind. I totally don't get it. You got USC in the top 20 in this AP poll.
UCLA.
And you know that UCLA has a better roster, has a more seasoned head coach, has a quarterback who has been in this program for 3 years now. I don't get it at all. To me, this is easy. I don't even know if there's a way to bet this. If this were an actual bet, oh my God, I would bet you
could take over wins.
Yeah, I would bet your balls on this one.
Yeah,
I don't know what the over and under for wins, but I'm just saying, to be a top 25 team, UCLA is absolutely a top 25 team. There's a chance. There's a real strong argument that they're going to win the goddamn conference. Never mind just be a top 25 team. Give me a break. So I will take UCLA absolutely to be top. This is the lock. To me, this is the easiest lock of all of them. I think UCLA is guaranteed top 25.
You only have LSU and UCLA. Did you say a third yet or no?
Texas.
That's it.
Tejas.
Writing
these down. You're going to really jam these up my ass later.
Well, no, just I write everything. We never go back to it, but right now it seems like a good idea.
Yeah, I kind of like it. Yeah, I kind of like it. By the way, I think we're right on Cincinnati, which was you. I think we're right on Pittsburgh. I think we're right.
I like UCLA won a lot too. That quarterback, and I love the tailbacks in Michigan transfer was really good. Yeah, and then you see Michigan's running back room. There's a reason why he left.
Yeah,
it's kind of like Jameson Williams with Alabama, Ohio State last. He left Ohio State's room
because Jim Harbaugh listens to the podcast and he realized I should go back to doing what I do, which is smash mouth football. Dick.
Well, I think they're going to throw a little bit more this year, but
you better hope not. Why fuck with a winning recipe?
I'm not saying they're going to be the air raid offense. I just think they got a lot of weapons on the outside, which is good.
Heisman candidates.
Yes, sir.
Who you like? So all right. So give us the favorites first. Why don't you give us a couple?
Yeah, I think we're going to have the same two with returning Heisman winner Bryce Young, Alabama quarterback.
Now it's really hard to repeat, but
it's really hard to repeat. It's kind of like you get a black star next year, right before the season starts.
It's not interesting. If you're a voter, you want to vote for the same guy again, shit, I got to wait till next year to come up with something new.
You have him as well?
What I did instead, I put 3 guys outside of the top 2. So, who's the other that's kind of one of the favorites?
Ohio State quarterback C.J. Stroud.
Who I hope last year. Yeah, I hope the Jets draft after this coming season because I'm nearing the end of my rope with both Robert Saleh and Zach Wilson. But we'll talk about that another day.
Next week, I think.
We'll talk about that another day.
Wow, that didn't take long.
Breaking news, folks! Breaking news.
Wow. Yeah, I wouldn't be rooting for that either, C.J. Stroud. But that's another conversation for another day.
We can talk about that. There's things I see in him that are different than any Ohio State quarterback I've seen so far. So. I'll give you one of my names, and if you're looking to just throw $10 on a long shot, because I think Heisman Trophy is something you can actually bet on right now.
Oh yeah,
I'm going to tell you, just take $10. I think it's 3,000 to 1 or something like that. It's pretty far. It's pretty high up there. Malik Cunningham, quarterback of Louisville. Okay, well, let me just throw you some Lamar Jackson-esque numbers out at you. Last year. And let's remember he plays in the ACC. Okay, so it's not exactly
the ACC.
What did I say?
I think you said SEC, but maybe not. Maybe my ears are clogged.
Nah, you're probably right. He plays in the ACC, so not exact. I was about to say not exactly SEC defenses. So I probably got ahead of myself. Last year, threw for 3,000 yards and ran for 1,000 yards. This is very much Lamar Jackson, and the reason I bring this up as a great bet. I don't know that it's going to happen, but it's a great bet because here's why. Heisman voters love stats. And if he throws up 4,000 passing yards or 3,500 passing yards and maybe 1,200 rushing yards, and somehow Louisville has 10 wins, maybe if Louisville has 10 wins and he goes 3,500, 1,200, I'm telling you what, dude, it's going to be really, really hard for these guys to pass that shit up. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, it's a good bet. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying that's a really good bet right there. I'm going to look that up, Heisman Trophy odds, while you're telling me one of yours.
Well, if C.J. Stroud's going to have a good year, it's going to be a lot because of this guy. Wide receiver, Jackson, Smith, and Jigba. Watching a lot of Big Ten games, this guy is just different. I don't know. Olave, Williams, Wilson, and name every wide receiver, Michael Thomas down the line. This guy's he's always open. He's fast as shit when he gets the ball on open field. He's good. He's got a good stiff arm. He's not afraid to go. He's not going to run out of bounds on you. He's going to hit you in the friggin' mouth. Listen, I don't want the guy. I want the guy to suck, but he's awesome. He's fucking awesome.
So here's the thing with that one. If he has a good year, which he will, it means CJ Stroud has a good year.
Yeah.
And I just think that's going to be a tough one.
And they split votes, maybe. Yeah,
that's happened before. It ends up. If this was 20 years ago, I would agree with you. Now, what I will say, what would the number be? Like, let's just say like 50% of CJ Stroud's touchdowns go to one guy, then he has a chance. You know what I mean? Yeah. And if there's ever a year for that to be a possibility, it's this year, because it's like we've talked about, Garrett Wilson and Olave are both gone. So he's the man. So if there was a possibility for it, it's this year. But it's just that CJ Stroud is already one of the favorites to win. If I can't say his name properly,
Jackson Smith
Njigba. If he's putting up numbers, it's because the guy who's already one of the front runners is putting up numbers. And I just think it's hard to pass up your own guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if he was playing for Minnesota.
And it's different, too, if you return kicks and punts, 3 or 4 of those. And
right.
Well, he doesn't. So
exactly. So I think that's a tough one. I just wanted to go back a little bit and just let you know, Malik Cunningham is plus 6,600, which means if you put a $10 bet and he actually won the Heisman, you'd win $660. That's a nice little investment. I'm just saying. Just throwing that out there to you. Next guy I'll throw out there, and I know you're not going to like this because you can't stand Lincoln Riley, but I'm going to say Caleb Williams at UCLA.
It's not that I can't stand Lincoln Riley. I just want to see him do shit for us before we start crowding him.
Well, usually the guys that you don't want him to do shit, you don't really like them. So,
no, that's not a bad pick. That's not a bad pick.
And here's why I think it's a possibility, and I could probably give you the odds on that one too when I'm done with this. If he was just going to USC and Lincoln Riley wasn't there, I wouldn't even put him in a conversation. But he's going to a program, number one, that he already knows the system. So this is not going to be like a difficult transition for him. He's going out west to USC, where there's all this hype and all this glory and all that comes with being part of USC. There's going to be talent there. There's always talent at USC. Got guys coming in, Addison coming in from Pittsburgh. So, and then you got the fact that the Pac-10 or Pac-12, whatever the hell it is, not exactly the best conference in the friggin' world. No. And he can light it up. And as we looked at last week, that you hadn't looked at their schedule isn't the most difficult schedule in the world. So if there's some of those, listen, he's going to have to beat UCLA, and I don't know that that's going to happen. They're going to have to probably beat Utah. I don't know that that's going to happen. But if those things happen.
And they got a toughie with Fresno, too, in non-conference.
Absolutely. And people forget that's an in-state game. So, because Fresno's in California. So, but the things are in place for him to be, a possibility. And again, I'm giving you guys that are off the beaten path a little bit, not the top one. And Caleb Williams is plus 700. So, and this is not even one of the long. This is not a particularly long shot. $10 to win 70. Yeah. So,
can I ask you a question? You have the odds up there. How many guys you got up there?
I got a million.
Can you tell me what Blake Corum is, tailback at Michigan?
Blake, what the hell's his name?
Corum?
Blake Corum plus 10,000.
Wow.
I will tell you that Tua Tagovailoa's brother, Talia Tagovailoa, is 12,500 plus 12,500. So I have one more for you. Speaking of running backs,
I got one more for you too. Do we have the same guy?
I don't know who you got.
I got a Big Ten guy.
No.
Are you going Will Shipley from Clemson?
I am not.
Running back. Ohio State?
Nope. Bijan Robinson from Texas.
Good one.
He was a Heisman candidate last year preseason. This is very important because about 5 games into the season, he wasn't even considered anymore. He was pretty much considered the best running back in the country last year. And the way their season went, just with all the chaos and the strangeness and the weird losses and all that kind of stuff, they had Oklahoma beat and they end up losing. And I just got a feeling he's this. All right, so here's how I look at it. Last year, he's a Heisman favorite and doesn't even place. He's not even one of the candidates.
Doesn't even get invited.
Comes in this year under the radar. It's not like he got worse. So, and as I said before, I think Texas ends up creeping into the top 25, maybe even the top 10.
Didn't he get hurt and missed at the end of the year last year?
I don't
He missed
remember.
sometimes. I think he did. Why don't you look something up, Coach? Once in a while.
I don't do that. You do that. I comment.
Well, I can't read your mind. I know who the hell you're going to say. I'll look it up for you. But
it doesn't matter to me whether he got hurt or not, because I'm saying
doesn't matter what your name is.
He's coming in under the radar, and I tend to like the guys that come in under the radar. Now, the problem here is, as we've said about 1 million times, football is now a quarterback sport, and it's just really tough for any other player on the friggin' field. Like, the fact that Aiden Hutchinson was even considered a Heisman candidate, that's like winning the Heisman. He's a goddamn defensive end. I think everybody else there was a quarterback, right? So, like, it's hard. So you're going to have to see some guys maybe struggle or not put up the numbers that we thought or not have the record that we thought. But the guy is unbelievable. And let me give you his odds. Bijan, 2001s. So a $10 bet will give you 200. Not too bad. So those are just some names to throw out there.
I have one more guy as well. Running back, Wisconsin, Braylon Allen. Now, I
have no idea who this guy even is, but I love the bet because Wisconsin is so known for their offensive linemen, and they just do a great job of blocking, and they love to run the football.
So, from my sources in Madison.
Oh shit! Was that why you were out that one week? You were heading out to Big Ten country.
I'm hearing he is Jonathan Taylor Light.
Ooh.
And I'm a fan of that.
What was that name again?
Braylon Allen.
Go ahead, keep talking.
Well, like you said, one of the best offensive line in the country, year in and year out. Also day in and day out.
Yeah, they tend to play day games.
They also want to run the football. They're not exactly going to throw it around the yard either. They're not Ohio State by any means.
Yep, they never. And what's great about this is that they never have the quarterback play to do that.
Exactly that was my next point.
I apologize. I did it again.
And they play good defense, so they're going to get a lot of time in possession, run that clock out. Let's get those garbage yards, and let's get out of town.
Absolutely. He is on the same pace or same odds as Malik Cunningham that I mentioned earlier, plus 6,600. I got to be honest with you guys. If you're listening to this, take $10, take $20 and put 10 on what's
Allen, 10 on Cunningham.
Yeah, I think that's money well spent. That's money well spent. I got to be honest with you. Here's what I will tell you. I bet you their odds halfway through the season, the odds for both of those guys will be half of what they are right now.
Oh, I would agree.
If they're 6,600 now, I bet you halfway through the season, both of them are 3,300 or less, guaranteed.
Is anybody even money or negative money, or everyone's plus a little bit?
The favorite. So I'll give you like top 5.
Yeah, give me top 5.
I got C.J. Stroud at plus 200, Bryce Young plus 350, Caleb Williams plus 700, Will Anderson Jr.
Alabama, yeah, he's a monster.
Running back?
Nope. Defensive end, outside linebacker.
Not a chance. I do like him. Yeah, I know who that is. Jesus. Bijan Robinson, 2000 DJ Uyunglele. I wish.
No, you did it again.
Uyunglele.
Uyunglele.
Quinn Ewers.
That's the Texas quarterback. I'm not a fan.
Oh, listen, what is he? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's 7th. Oh, is that the kid that transferred from Ohio State?
Yeah, he took all the money and bailed.
I do like him. Oh, I love Texas this year.
Ugh.
I like him even more. That kid's got a fucking.
You better enjoy. He's going to be transferring again too when Manny comes in next year. So.
Oh my God, that's right. Oh, Jesus Christ. You know what? I kind of like him even more now. He's like, I better show out so that Alabama recruits me in the offseason. Holy shit, that's so funny. Holy shit, I didn't even think of that. That's great. Njigba is plus 3,300. Dylan Gabriel, 33,000. And I don't know. He's a Tyler Van Dyke. I think he's a quarterback somewhere.
Miami.
Yeah. No, thank you. I just want to say something. I know everybody's like jerking off.
I know about Miami Hurricanes. I know.
Crystal ball. I get it. Home guy. I'm not there, folks.
Well, Manny Diaz was too, and he sucked there.
Yeah, I'm not there, folks. I'm not ready to christen. Listen. Here's the funny thing. I'm a Florida State fan, so I want Florida State to be better. I'm not a Miami fan. I want Miami to be better College football is better. We need more teams than just freaking Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson, and like somebody else. Like we need more teams. We need Miami to be good. We need Florida State to be good. Like college football is better when those two teams are better. Plus, that'll strengthen the ACC conference. So, like, seriously, I want them to be better. You know, the one of the greatest rivalries in all of college football history is Miami versus Florida State. Yep. Maybe there was a time where that was only second to Ohio State, Michigan. And frankly, at that time, it was probably a bigger game than Ohio State, Michigan. Like I look historically, it's not bigger than Ohio State, Michigan. But from like the 90s to the early 2000s, or even like late 80s to definitely like mid to late 80s.
Yeah, can we go back to that? Because that's when Michigan used to kick their ass. Let's go back to that.
Oh my God, that was the game. So I want Miami to be good. Can we just slow down until we see?
And the amount of NFL guys they both produced during that time was
beautiful. Yeah. It's just beautiful, dude. I want them both to be really good again. Not because I'm a fan of Florida State, because it's just better for college football.
I know we need more teams. I know a little bit off the rails here. Is this your last shot for Norvell at Florida State?
I don't know, dude, because this is just economics. They're still paying the last two guys they fired. They're still paying. You're still paying Jimbo, and they're still paying Taggart. So, like,
no, Jimbo left on his own. They're not paying him.
Are you sure about that?
Yes. Yeah, they didn't fire him. No way.
I think it was a big buyout, though. I think it was like a $25 million buyout or something.
A&M probably paid it.
They're definitely still paying Taggart.
Yeah, that'll give you.
It was a significant money because I remember the article when they hired Norvell was like, kind of side note, this guy's got the job for a little while because they've been depleting the coffers.
I got a curveball for you.
Let me hear it.
What if I tell you that their next coach isn't exactly a guy yet you have to really pay because he's kind of rich already?
Are you going to say Urban Meyer?
Nope. Oh, no.
By the way, if it was Urban Meyer, it's a holy yes, 100% yes
See,
for me.
You're such a hypocrite.
I would line up.
What a hypocrite you are.
I would line up the college co-eds for him to squeeze their asses. Go ahead. I want Florida State.
You really have no idea. You really have no idea who I'm talking about here.
Is it a college guy?
Dude, he's a legend. College and pro. Hall of Famer. Two-sport star.
Available right now? Deion Sanders. Oh, my God.
You just came a little bit. Look at you.
Yeah.
Clean up on
that. I got to be honest with you.
Yeah.
This
nice,
is
right?
So sick. This is so sadistic, but Deion Sanders comes with Barstool Sports and Barstool money. Yeah. Oh, dude. You know what?
I should do a podcast.
I change everything I just said. He's totally in a hot seat.
He's toast.
If Jackson, so what is he? Jackson State is Deion over at Jackson State. If he goes like undefeated again this year, they have a great season.
Bro, and now you have the one-time transfer. You take all the guys with you.
Because they just got the kid that they gave $1 million to. Bro, if they go undefeated again, dude, it's a no-brainer.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just
by the way,
that doesn't happen much. I just stunned Pete Calisano.
Dude, that was beautiful. That was delicious, dude. Oh my God, that is absolutely delicious. Because I'm sitting here like, are you gonna give me Urban Meyer? I'll take him. I don't care that he's a douchebag. I want to win because the guy's in college football. Let's be honest, he's a winner. Like he knows how to win on college football. I don't care about the rest of the stuff. That's way better. Oh, fucking prime time. Prime time. Give me prime back at Florida State.
Really?
Oh, I'm starting a movement now. Are you kidding me?
In your pants.
And he would be careful. Be careful. This is a family show. And you think he wouldn't jump all over that? Of course he would.
Dude, he's waiting for the call. You kidding me?
Oh my goodness
Absolutely
gracious. I can't wait for the season to end.
Give me your playoffs.
Season didn't even start, and I can't wait for the season to end. Okay, I'll give you my 4 teams here. And, there's some chalk in here, and then there's not chalk. You ready for this? My number 1 seed, Ohio State. My number 2 seed, Alabama. I like C.J. Stroud. I love Njigba. I just think, first of all, more than Njigba, I don't care. This is one of the very few times I don't care that they lost Olave and Wilson. Ohio State always has wide receivers in the pipeline.
At all. And no disrespect to them, but they're
They
They're
always
fine.
have wideouts, dude. There's just a never-ending run of wideouts over at Ohio State. So this is one of the rare times that I'm like, to me, it doesn't matter. So I have them as 1. Alabama. Nick Saban said last year was a rebuilding year, and they friggin' almost won a national title. So I got to put them in there. My 3 and 4 team are probably going to surprise you a little bit. At number 3, Nick Saban's going to be thrilled to hear this, and if it goes the way I'm saying, he would be playing them in the first round of the playoffs. I think Texas A&M ends up in the top 4 and gets a playoff spot at number 3. And then I know you're going to kill me for this one. I just don't like what's out there. I got Clemson dropping out of the top 10, top 25. I got Georgia dropping out of the top 10.
Don't you fucking do it.
I'm not saying Michigan. I think they're going to reload this year because I don't know if they're going to beat Ohio State. And if they don't beat Ohio State, I don't think they get in. You're going to think I'm fucking nuts. I'm saying Utah goes undefeated in Pac-12 play. I don't know if they go undefeated for the season, but they go undefeated in Pac-12 play and get into the playoffs. I actually think there is a desire.
By the way, why would I kill you for that?
Because it's kind of off the beaten path. Not out of anger, out of like, you're crazy. Like, that's not going to happen, dude. Stop, you're stupid. Stop drinking booze. Like our intro says, you better put the bourbon down and go see a doctor. Like, I thought that kind of.
Who's your championship? The obvious?
I think Ohio State's the best team in the country.
They beat Bama in the final?
I don't care who they play. I genuinely don't care.
Give me a fucking team.
I got Ohio State beating Alabama for a national championship. I got Ohio State going undefeated. Clean sweep.
You're like the rest of the country. This is so good.
I don't like it. I don't want it. I actually, in a weird way, I hope I'm wrong because I don't want it. Obviously, I want to be right, but I'm not an Ohio State guy, so I'm just telling you what I see.
My number one
seed out of the 4, right?
Alabama. Number 2, Michigan. No, Ohio State. Unfortunately, it's Ohio State.
Michigan.
3, and we disagree on this one. I got the Clemson Tigers. I think the ACC stinks.
I know, but you got to have a quarterback.
I think the kid's going to be better, and they have a stud behind him. If he skunks, they're going to run the ball. They're going to play good defense.
That stud they put in for a half, and they took him out again.
And what's his face? He's going to jump around again, fucking with the coach.
I do like their coach.
What the hell's his name? I can't think of his name.
Debo.
Thank you. And number 4, you're going to be mad at me for this one. I got Utah.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Dude, you're kidding me, right?
I got Utah going undefeated as well. I think they're very good.
This is bananas. I want to be I swear my kids' eyes.
I
want everyone who's listening to know. I swear on the eyes of my children that we did not talk about this ahead of time. I swear to God. I swear on my kids. Strike them down now if I'm lying. Am I wrong? We didn't talk about this.
That's why when you said Utah, I'm like, oh my God, I didn't want to ruin it for me. And I'm like,
crazy.
And I got Bama, Ohio State, and I got Bama winning it because obviously I can't root for those assholes. So
I totally get that. Listen, I just want to go back to the Utah thing. Media matters. Okay, I don't mean the company media matters. I mean the media matters. And when I'm talking about media, I don't just mean like, ESPN, ABC. I mean like Twitter matters, Facebook matters, Instagram matters. People's opinions matter. And I think because there's been this like what has been perceived as East Coast bias, although I don't think it is because I think the Pac-12 has been bad. I almost think like there's a yearning, like a desire, like there are people out there that would really, really, really like for there to be a Pac-12 team for them to vote for, to be in the top 12 and top 4.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Like finally we can put someone else in.
I mean, it's been what, 7, 8 years since Oregon's been in it?
It's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while.
And Washington was in the 16. They got smoked too.
Utah has most of their entire team coming back. They have one of the best
we
running
love
backs
their
in the
coach.
country.
Whittingham's fantastic.
Been there for been there since Urban Meyer was there. He took over for Urban Meyer, and people were like, he's not going to be able to do the job. He's been fantastic. Stable program in a conference that is in total flux, that is totally afraid to fall apart. They're the only team that I look at and says they don't care what happens because they'll be invited. They would be invited to the Big Ten. They would be invited to the Big 12. They would be invited to a lot of different conferences. They got options. It's other teams that are kind of screwed Arizona State would end up in like the Big West. You know what I mean? Like if there was no more Pac-12. So
Washington State too would be in like the fucking
be in trouble. You'd be in real trouble. Utah's in a catbird seat, and I don't know that they have to go undefeated, but I think undefeated in conference or maybe one close road loss to a really good team.
I think that Florida game opening weekend is friggin' enormous,
if
especially
they win that, it's huge.
No, it's huge. It's
and
huge.
They're a more seasoned team than Florida, so it's better to get Florida early than late.
And you know what's funny too about that? Like they got a taste in the Rose Bowl about playing those kind of athletes. They make a few adjustments, and Ohio State has better athletes and better players than Florida has. So
and they did sit out some of them.
Yeah, they did.
And Utah had that game won.
I know they did.
Utah had that game won. I turned it off. I turned that game off. So
it was like a Mike Dean call.
I know. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, North Carolina. But yeah, it's funny. That is so funny. I'm totally there with you.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit of a reach because I think we both would like to see somebody else in there.
And just to hit it home for me, because I know you go Jets sometimes. Oh, Michigan. For me, listen. Unless it was unbelievable, magical year, I do think they're replacing 7-8 stars on defense as well. So that's a very tough.
I think Aiden Hutchinson replacing him is the tough one because that's like
Ojabo too. They're both of those guys, man. Ojabo came out of nowhere. Listen, they got guys. They're not taking me and you. They got guys. But obviously, you got invited to New York for the Heisman. You're a different guy. You're a different.
Absolutely.
And you see him on Hard
He's
Knocks.
also just not just a player.
Oh,
he was a leader of that team. You're losing a major voice on that team, a major leader. So that's part of the problem there.
Yeah, and I think Ohio State will be out for blood. He's had trouble beating Tucker at Michigan State, and they got to go to Iowa at night, and that's a pain in the ass of a game. And after what they did to him last year in the Big Ten championship game, so I do see a slip up here or there.
I do still think they're a top 10, top 12 team, though.
Yeah, I do too. But it's going to be just tough getting two Big Ten teams in the playoff.
Yeah. I think it'll be interesting. I think we would all like to see some new blood, though. And the other side, to be honest with you, I really had a hard time. I didn't just jump on Utah. I look and I said, I really do believe. I'm not saying Georgia's going to stink, but I think they're a 2-loss team at least. I think they're going to have to be in some shutouts. I think they're a 2-loss team. I'm not there with Clemson. So I think they're a 2 or 3 loss team.
I like the A&M pick, though. That's going out a little bit.
Well, because they also had the number 1 recruiting class in the country. They were a good team last year. Did they beat Alabama last year?
Yeah.
So, it's not like a stretch.
Now they got to go to Tuscaloosa.
Sure. But see, if you lose that game 28-27, that's not a bad loss. And if that's your only loss, you're still in. Georgia lost to Alabama last year. In fact, didn't they get smushed by Alabama?
And the SEC championship game, they still went to the fucking thing.
Yeah. So a tough loss.
That might even be better for A&M. They lose Alabama in October,
but win everything else.
You lay in the weeds. You don't play the SEC championship game. Then you just climb in the ladder, up. Yeah. And then you slide right in.
So for them, it's going to come down to quarterback because I think, if I'm not mistaken, the kid who was quarterback last year is not there again this year.
He's gone. They brought in Brad Johnson's kid from LSU, and they have another guy there too. I like him
a lot, though.
I do too.
He's got a fucking cannon. That was a bad loss for LSU to let him go.
I think he left though as soon as I don't even think Chip Kelly.
As soon as Orgeron was gone,
I think he was already out the door.
I like him a lot
because if Brian Kelly talks to you maybe stay because he's got pedigree.
I like him a lot. So now that just made me feel even better about that one. All right, that's our college football preview. I'm so excited. I'm jacked that there's games this weekend. So let's get it fired up. Football is finally here, man. I gotta wait 2 more days.
You want to hit Hard Knocks real quick?
Let's hit Hard Knocks and then your Paul O'Neill day, right?
I'm assuming you watched.
I didn't watch the week 3 yet. I'm still on it, but you didn't watch week 2 last week, I wanted to just be even with you.
I caught up to both.
Okay, so let's talk about week 2. Let's talk about the second episode.
I don't remember week 2. I remember week 3 because I watched it today.
The first preseason game. First of all, the 2 things that stuck out to me were it was the first preseason game and the intensity. Like I talked to you about the fact that bad teams like preseason games and they want to win preseason games. The way they went into their preseason game and the way they came out of it, they were pissed that they lost. Meanwhile, you're playing your third quarterback in the fourth quarter, and then they
almost didn't let him fucking shower in the locker room.
Well, this is what's amazing. This is a preseason game. Poor bastard was on suicide watch after this game because he fumbled a snap.
Oh, he was, yeah.
Oh my God, was it Baugh?
David Blau.
Blau, that's how you say. I'm sorry.
His wife's an Olympian. Jesus Christ.
I know that whole story. His wife,
Yeah,
what is she?
fantastic. Sprinter. Yeah,
That's what's cool about it, is that you see that kind of stuff.
definitely.
And him sitting in the locker room, and
With
you're looking at him like
all the guys,
oh,
like,
shit.
and then they're like rooting forward too.
This
Like, that's
poor
a team,
bastard.
man.
He's sitting there thinking, I just lost my job.
Yeah.
Like, what do I do now? I probably just lost my job. And then you flash to Dan Campbell saying, some of you won't be here next week. And it's like, oh shit. Like, this is real, man. This isn't just like for fun and we bet on these games. Like, some of these guys aren't going to get paid a week from now. Like, they're going to be, Kurt Warner, like bagging groceries.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit. The other thing that stood out to me was like that one linebacker kid, Rodrigo. Yeah. What a cool little story. You talk about a guy. Now, you and
Is
I.
he from the Naval Academy?
No.
Where's he from? No, he's from Nebraska, I think, right?
I don't remember. Shit. But he was like a 5th or 6th round pick. Yeah. And so the two things that were cool about
they got him in the starting lineup this week, and not to give much away, but
well, that was so cool is that they're in a meeting, they're watching film, and the linebackers coach is saying,
yeah,
fucking
Shepherd.
Rodrigo, every other word is fuck, like they're just swearing the whole goddamn time. But he's like, he's not a 1st round pick, he's not a 2nd round pick, he's not a 3rd round pick. Rodrigo, when'd you get picked? He's like, whatever he said, 5th or 6th, and he's like, that's the guy. See how he's playing? We don't even, and this is the God's honest truth. This is the dirty part that people don't understand. But the coach said it, and this is the truth. No coach would ever say this, but he was, they're in the moment. We don't even want him to start because they want the guys that they are paying, the 1st and 2nd rounders. They want the guys that are making money to start because then you don't want to waste the money.
But he's like, but if he starts, he starts. I don't give a shit.
He starts.
He starts. Yeah, it's like,
because he's flying around hitting people, dude. It was beautiful. And if you remember back to episode 1, I didn't know who he was, but he was the one when they were asking, what do you think about camp? And he was the only one. I was like, I love camp. You get to hit people. Like everyone else, camp sucks, camp's hard. It's good because you get to learn. And he's like, you get to hit people. It's just a cool little story, man. It's a cool story to watch that shit. You know what I mean?
Dude, he's got a little Zach Thomas in him.
Yes, because he's a little undersized. Yeah, he's a little undersized. So it was pretty cool. But yeah, you're right. The whole backstory with Blau's wife and all that kind of stuff. Pretty cool.
And then the kid like Hutchinson and the guy from Africa or wherever he's from.
Yes, they're sitting in the
cold tub.
Yeah.
He goes, I've been here like 7 years. I've only played football 7 years. Hutch goes, so who recruited you? Like, he's like, it's so weird for him. He goes, well, I was always going to Michigan, but like everyone recruited me. He goes, I like 7 schools. I ended up going to Memphis. I felt like home to me. And that's what college, like people don't understand what like recruiting is about. Yes. It's the feel. Like you got to feel at home. Like
absolutely. Because what's funny is at the end of that conversation, Hutchinson would say, we should go to Michigan, man. Why don't you go to Michigan?
Yeah, he goes, they offered me. Like, they offered me.
But what was interesting, because what you're saying about feeling like home, he said, if I could do it over again, I'd still go to Memphis.
Yeah.
Nothing changed his mind. He would still go to Memphis. I think that's just cool.
And then you see a little bit more on him this week. I won't give too much away, but
okay, we'll talk about that.
But one more thing too, I just want to tell you. I want you some things to keep an eye on. Deuce Staley's fucking awesome.
Well, he's awesome. And the dynamic between him and
Aaron Glenn,
is really cool because they're like best friends, but they go at it during practice.
And he loves himself some Hutch, man. Aaron Glenn is
hard not to. I gotta be honest with you. That's one of the cool things about watching the show is you get to see young guys growing and what role are they starting to take and stuff like that. Hutchinson is really well liked.
Yeah.
They love what they see, dude. Oh, my God. And boy, does Hard Knocks love putting his mom and sisters on television.
Do you blame him?
I mean, no, I guess not. A little eye candy. I get it. But it is what it is, right?
Like if you're the dad, right? You're the dad sitting there, okay?
You're like, I don't know.
Michigan All-American.
100 million men in this country want to bang my wife.
Well, I wasn't going that way, but now that you put it that way, yeah. And my daughters, unfortunately, too.
Yeah, exactly. All of them.
But,
I mean, full-time security.
Michigan grad, All-American. He's a fucking doctor. His son's a Heisman candidate. Number 2 overall pick in the state you fucking live in.
Yeah, you didn't have to go anywhere.
Your wife's a dime. Your daughter's Miss Michigan, one of them. Like, the guy's going to be sitting there like not a care in the world.
Yeah, he's doing good. Oh. Life is good. Some people get hit with the happy stick, man. It is what it is.
Yeah, it's still hitting them.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm gonna watch, and we'll. You know what? I'll watch the next 2 episodes. I'll make sure I get them both in, and we'll talk about them both.
Yep.
But it is interesting. The thing that really stuck out to me is what we've talked about: the idea that preseason does matter to bad teams because Campbell even said it. Like, you're trying to build momentum, man. You're trying to change a culture around here, and losing games, whether they're preseason or not, you don't want to do it. You know,
especially because they lost that game exactly how they lost like 6 games last year.
Yeah, you're winning.
It's so familiar with them. It's like, we got to change this fucking juju in here. Like,
yep, it matters. It does matter. Hey, you went to Yankee Stadium on Sunday. It was Paul O'Neill Day, so tell me about that a little bit.
Great day, nostalgic, as you would understand.
Of course.
And they're running out. They're running out all the legends and Posada and Tino and Bernie and Mo and Pettit.
And that's also part of the fun. Like,
dude, you're a legend
the old
forever.
gang together.
You get there dude, forever.
Yeah.
Forever. You don't have to buy a drink in the city again, dude.
Yep.
You're a legendary Yankee. So
Absolutely.
I have a couple of questions for you.
Yeah, man.
Was Paul O'Neill deserving on his getting his number retired?
No.
Do you think because too many numbers are retired, or do you have other reasons?
I just don't think he's an all-time Yankee legend. Now, what's funny about that is I look at that Yankee era of those multiple championships, and as much as I love Jeter and Tino and I love all those guys, right? I actually look and I say Paul O'Neill was the glue. Like, he was the grit of that team. Like, he was the piece.
Fair.
I don't know. He was the grinder. He just was the glue.
The spark plug.
I almost look at him as more of a captain of that team. I know Jeter was the captain and all that stuff. I almost look at Paul O'Neill as...
Jeter wasn't captain until after he retired.
What do you mean?
He didn't get named captain until 02, 03.
Until O'Neill retired?
O'Neill left in 01.
Who was the captain then?
There was no captain.
Okay. Well, I'm that's interesting that you're saying
your point home.
Because I think if you ask the guys on that team who was our quote-unquote captain, whether he was or wasn't, I think it would be Paul O'Neill. But I don't think that necessarily means your number should get retired. He doesn't have, like, all-time numbers. He's not, like, a home run king. He's not – I don't even know if he's a Hall of Famer. Is he a Hall of Famer? No, right? So I don't know. There's a reverence that comes with getting your number retired. I think he should be celebrated. I think there should have been a Paul O'Neill Day.
There was one already.
Yeah, I just don't think his number should have been retired.
So then you just answered two of my next couple questions. So you don't think Posada should be retired?
No.
And you don't think, obviously, Tino's isn't, and it won't be? You don't think okay.
No.
Okay.
Neither should Bernie Williams.
It's already retired.
He shouldn't be. I think we talked about this one before.
So was Pettit's.
I don't think his should be
and
either.
Pettit was on the fucking list, the steroid list.
Yeah, whether he was or wasn't, I just don't think so.
All right.
None of these guys are even Hall of Famers.
Well, you think Reggie Jackson should be retired? He was only Yankee 5 years.
Yes.
But he has less rings.
I don't care. He's a Hall of Famer.
Okay.
He's a Hall of Famer. He's Mr. October. He's just a bigger figure. He's a bigger figure historically than any of those guys that you just mentioned.
I will give you that.
Listen, I almost wish there was a way to just say, hey, like, you guys we have a, like, okay, so there's
like a Ring of Honor or something like that. Like,
the second Avengers movie was like Age of Ultron, and when they rolled the credits, there was this, like, it almost looked like a trophy, and it was an ivory carving of, like, one of the last scenes where all the Avengers are, like, standing next to each other, like they're back to back, as if to say, like, we have each other's back. I would love to see, like, what did they do with the Football Hall of Fame? It's like, what is it made of? Not copper.
The heads?
The bust. Yeah, it's
the bust.
Whatever that's made of. I would love to see like a Bernie Mariano, Jeter, Posada, Tino, Paul O'Neill, and whoever else would fit in that mold. Like, almost like them with their, almost like a Sandlot scene, like with these 6 or 7 guys with their kind of arms around each other's shoulders. Like, they deserve recognition as a group. This is what was so beautiful about that team, is that for decades before them, the Yankees with Steinbrenner would buy players, and your Dave Winfields and your, go down the list, and wouldn't win any chance. They'd pay all these guys and they wouldn't win shit. And then you just have this kind of like ragamuffin group of guys that weren't necessarily particularly special individually.
That just worked.
God damn, were they special as a group. And you can plug and play pieces outside of them, but it was them. They were the core. And I actually think it would be more special if it was them as a group as opposed to them individually.
So
like
so
they
funny.
were like the Sandlot group, you know?
Watching the video montage too, it's like, man, that was so long ago now. It's like
it's 25 years.
Bernie's all gray and Tino's fat. And,
is he really?
Yeah, like chubby, not fat.
Funny. That's chubby. Funny. Yeah.
One last one for you, bro.
Yeah.
Who do you think could be next and who'd be deserving?
Oh, that's a tough question, man.
I have one guy.
Let me hear.
Well, two if Judge resigns, but that's not the obvious one.
I'm not there yet.
What do you think of CC Sabathia?
No.
Not even close, huh?
What they win? Did he win one World Series?
Yeah.
No. I'm sorry. I don't even think of him.
I think I agree. I think I agree with you. Somebody said Brett Gardner. I must threw him off the fucking stage.
No, come on.
I know.
Retire a number?
I know.
You're gonna put him on the same wall with Mickey fucking Mantle? Like
Brett Gardner and Babe Ruth.
Come on, dude. Give him a chair. Give him like a seat in the stadium. Like, by the way, that's not a bad idea if we started doing shit like that. And like for the next level guys, like we'll give you a section of the stadium. This is the Brett Gardner station. I don't know. He deserved maybe a seat.
Tino and Cohen have free beer for life.
Yeah, Tino gets a section. Section 201 is now the Tino Martinez section. Like maybe do something like that. Come on,
that's not a bad thought. You could do like
some sense. Kind of a good idea, actually. I just thought of that off the top of my bald head. Right here. There you go. For those of you on YouTube. Yeah. No. Come on. No. Come on. This is supposed to be special.
Well, I think they were kind of ruined that already.
But this is what I'm saying. That's why I think it's a mistake. Yeah. Like, dude, you're not allowed to wear Jackie Robinson's number, and now on the Yankees you can't wear Brett Gardner's. Like,
I can't have a fucking beer. Now I can't wear number 11. What are you kidding me?
Come on, like, give me a break. Like, that's absurd. Yeah, and you know what's funny is during that era, Paul O'Neill was one of my favorite guys on a team, man. So I don't say that gleefully. I'm not happy about it. Like, I love Paul O'Neill, but come on, man. That stuff is meant for very, very special individuals.
I get it. Yeah.
Right, so give me. I'll tell you what.
Look, we had a good day.
Talk to me about whose numbers are up there before what 95.
Mattingly.
Yeah, he does. He's one of the best first basemen in the history of their team.
I'm just giving it to you.
He's arguably the second best first baseman in history of their team, right?
Well, him and Lou Gehrig.
Lou Gehrig. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's him and Lou Gehrig. Like, hello. But this is what I'm saying. If you look back, look at those numbers. Look at who those guys are. Right. Is Bob Mercer's number up there?
No, because he wore number 2, Jeter.
Yeah, so, like, he was great. They stunk, but he was great. Like, I don't know.
Roy White.
This is what I mean. Like, I just think that's supposed to be really, really, really a special player. It's not just supposed to be, well, you were part of this great team. Well, I don't know. You know, should Cecil Fielder, should he be up there? I mean, he was part of winning the championship. You know, like, come on.
I mean, yeah.
He was an important part of it.
Wells. I mean, you got Joe line somewhere.
Not for anything. You know, Cone threw perfect games and
Wells too.
They won championships. Like, I don't know.
Do you think a part of the reason why O'Neill got his number retired is because he works for the franchise now?
Probably has something to do with it.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't think it's deserving. And I love him. I'm sorry, but I love him.
Yeah, it was a good day, though. We had fun. Weather held up.
It was. Beautiful day. Actual, like, weather. I mean, he had a beautiful day. So that's awesome. Cool stuff.
Thanks, bud.
Very cool. 77 in the books, my man. What you got?
I got 4 for you. Number 4, 4-time all-time in assists. Number 1 in points and goals by a defenseman. 13-time All-Star, NHL Hall of Famer Ray Bourque.
Great player. Oh, my God.
Number 3, 2008 first overall pick, 2010 All-Pro, 4-time Pro Bowler, and 2-time All-American at Michigan, offensive tackle Jake Long. Number 2, Super Bowl champion this past year, 2-time All-Pro, 4-time Pro Bowler, Walter Payton Man of the Year, and possibly a future Hall of Famer, tackle Andrew Whitworth.
Oh, I think he's a Hall of Famer. And I think that's a bigger, by the way, I think that's a bigger loss for the Rams than anybody is mentioning at all.
Yep,
I think
I agree with you.
Big deal.
Number 1, 3-time NBA first teamer, 3-time All-Star, 2019 Rookie of the Year. He's only 23 years old, Maverick star Luka Doncic.
And I never like to call guys Hall of Famers this early in their career.
Yep.
Yeah, no brainer.
He's on fast pass there, my friend.
Unless he breaks both legs, God forbid, and I don't want to see that happen. I don't want to see that happen to anybody. Like, no brainer. Unbelievable player. It's pretty crazy to think that he's only 23. I think he started in the NBA when he was 14.
And he doesn't turn 24 to February. I'm like, holy shit.
Christ. He's a fucking kid. I was such a dummy when I was 23 to think like he's like, it's just nuts. It's nuts. All right, so I have something new here for us. This is my tweet of the week, and this comes from at MishaMama75. Now, some of you who have either gone to college or have hung out with college friends, or maybe you've been to a college party, you've been to a dorm room party, or a what do they call it, like a sorority or fraternity party or something like that, you'll understand this tweet. And obviously this mom certainly went to college. And here's the tweet of the week for me: watching my kid shotgun an applesauce pouch and thinking about her college years. All right. In one hand, you got an applesauce pouch and then a shot of tequila.
That's awesome.
And then the next thing you know, she's in the back room.
Legs
behind her ear like Bugs Bunny. There you go. I'm sure.
Well, listen,
that's exactly what mom was thinking. It ain't the shot; it's what comes after the shot that she's concerned
that one,
about.
Coach. Enjoy your.
You're always afraid to go to the.
You're gonna go to a warm, dark place tonight with your Deion Sanders picture and enjoy yourself.
Oh my God, dude! I tell you what, man. You may have just started a movement with that one. And I don't mean a bowel movement. I mean like a serious movement, or at least you may have driven me to start a movement. I'm tank for Deion. There was tank for Tua back in the day in Miami. They were trying to get Tua, and now they're probably regretting that. I'm tank for prime time. So what would it be like? We need something with P, right? Like I got to come up. I'll come up with a name.
Play awful for prime.
Yeah, it's going to be something like that. I'm going to have a name by next week. I'll have a name for our recruiting tour for Deion Sanders become the next head coach of Florida State's Seaman Holes. I'm excited about that. I'm looking forward to that, and I will have something ready for Scott Bracey, IMP Colisano. Super excited about Deion Sanders being the next head coach of Florida State Seminoles. And we'll see you next week.
Later.
Did I hit the right button there? Oh my God, dude. I fucking love that idea.
Right?
I didn't think of it at all.
I know. You were like.
I didn't think of it at all. I didn't have anybody in mind. Not for anything. I would take Urban Meyer for sure, but like, oh my God. And you know what's really funny about that is if you said that a year ago, I'd be like, dude, leave me alone. Just stop with that stupid shit. It's a gimmick. Oh my God. Well, maybe 2 years ago, right? I guess it was 2 years ago. He's been there. Now, Jesus Christ. Because 2 years. What was it? It was when McCarthy got the job, or before McCarthy got the job. He was out there saying they should hire me. I should be the next head coach of Dallas. And it was all like, what a joke, what a joke. And here he is. Do you know that Zimmer is Zimmer on his staff now?
Yep.
Jesus Christ. Like, could you imagine like Mike Zimmer following him to Florida State and being the defensive coordinator at Florida State?
And the fact that he wants to go work with Deion at Jackson State.
That's what I'm saying.
They must have a relationship, right?
Did they work together in Dallas or something?
I was just thinking that. Yeah, I think so. I think they did.
Zimmer was in Dallas at one point, right?
Yeah, I think they did. Because that's the only way.
Why would he know him?
Yeah.
Unless Deion just has that kind of clout.
Because he's so far removed, though, like.
Dude, I think he's making like $50 too. I don't think they're paying him shit to be the assistant to be the D coordinator or whatever.
Point exactly. Florida State won't have to fucking break the bank if they
fire.
Well,
they might have to pay a little bit.
But if you're paying Norville, you're not gonna like not fire him because like.
I'm just saying at this point, if Deion goes like whatever 10-1 or 11, I don't know how many games Jackson State plays. If they play 13 also, but. I mean, they pretty much had that kind of season last year, right? Didn't they lose only one game or something like that? I think
his son's a quarterback, too, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, for God's sake. Could you imagine Deion Sanders at Florida State and the recruiting that could go on at that point? Oh, my God.
So how many alumni would be coaching their teams at that point?
Could you get Brooks?
Derek Brooks?
Derek Brooks to come in?
You get whoever you want.
You would think so, right?
Terry Ward.
And now you have the Detroit Lions coaching staff like that kind of thing at Florida State.
Chris Winke's coaches some of the NFL. Maybe he back to OC.
Chris Winke has his own like quarterback coaching school down in Florida.
Oh, I just opened up your whole weekend.
Oh my
Dude,
God, dude.
hydrate, warm towels.
You know what's the funniest thing about that? I'm a Florida State fan. I'm rooting for them to lose. I want them to lose like every game this year.
I can't wait till they start 8-0. I'm going to text you every time. See you, Dion.
You just lost out on the Dion
See
sweepstakes.
you, Dion.
I'd be so pissed.
This is great.
God, I love it. I love it, dude. I love it. So I'm gonna try to get this done tonight, but my kids actually have an event at their school, like come find out who your teacher is, kind of thing. And I might get it done.
Lay some game to the teachers, bro. Do you think?
Yeah. You know what's funny is I almost want to edit it. I want to get it done because I want to hear that segment with Deion Sanders. You're like, oh my God, I can do this. All right, dude. I will talk to you. Get to see you ASAP.
Later, pal.
Later on.